What's going on, guys? This Anime Analyst here with another analysis video. This analysis is going to be on the Kara organization from Boruto chapter 15. So I've been reading over the chapter a good amount of times, and I actually want to do a detailed analysis on what I think the organization is all about and my kind of theories regarding all that stuff in between and around that situation. So let's get started. First of all, we are told the group's name via Shijoji when he is being interrogated. So he tells us that the group's name is Kara, which translates to shell or husk. So going further along, after taking in everything that happened in the chapter, my guess is that Kara is a group that slays alien beings in order to gain their power. So just like how the Atsutsukis have just a huge life presence and they give people powers when they're slain, just kind of how Boruto got power after he took out Momoshiki. My feeling is that they're a group that hunts these aliens and basically captures them or basically uses them for their power. So in the flashback shown by Shijoji, they've been shown to study the seals that people get after they've defeated an Atsutsuki. And their leader, who they call Sir Jigen, seems to possess the Atsutsuki seal on his chin, which could have only come from slaying one of the Atsutsuki. So at first, when I read this chapter, I thought Jigen's face was a mask, but it seems upon further inspection that it might be his actual face, and there seems to be the diamond seal, that's the same one that Boruto has. So he could be one that has slayed a Atsutsuki as well. Next, when we actually get the ending scene within the chapter where it shows the Kara organization present time having a meeting, there seems to be 6 members of Kara. So with that, I dissected the number of members and what the number 6 could actually be said to symbolize. So upon some research, the number 6 is said to symbolize completeness. So also, I want to throw in that Pythagoreans, who were some of the greatest mathematicians in like an older time, they have said that 6 is the first perfect number. So basically, this could very well contribute to how they operate. Maybe their number of members means something, because when you think about it, when you compare it to the other organization that we had in Shippuden, which was the Akatsuki, they basically had a member count limit, considering that they had rings for everybody and they only needed that number of people to match the number of rings. So I'm looking at everything. So the number 6 is said to be a perfect number, and that's how many members they have. Continuing on, when further analyzing the Kara hideout scene at the last panel in the chapter, in the background of the panel, you see that the room is comprised of all cubes and squares. So symbolically, cubes represent stability, permanence, perfection, immobility, and kind of the persistence of values. Sometimes it is also seen as a symbol of truth, considering it looks the same from any perspective. Okay, so now when it comes to squares, they have kind of similar meanings to the cubes, such as stabilization, structure, direction, and foundation. So also here's another detail, is that the square as a symbol is connected to the Hindu way of thought, where squares stand for like the natural order of the universe. And then lastly, when it comes to squares, structurally, squares symbolize carrying out a plan, constructing on that plan, and bringing ideas to reality. So when you put all that together, it kind of lines up with how the 6 members, and 6 is like a perfect number and it's said to symbolize completeness. And then the basically cubes and squares represent a lot of perfection, persistence on whatever their goals are, and kind of like perfection. And it seems to all line up with how their leader kind of acts, because they seem to be just a very precise group, and their leader seems to be very polite and just kind of regal. So now I'm kind of gonna go into the leader analysis, who is Sir Jigen, which Sir is like a respectful term or kind of a regal term. So okay, so again, their leader seems to be one, he's called Jigen, which can translate to merciful eye and the compassionate eye of Buddha. So he's a very polite dude, and he seems like he has a lot of authority. And he even sits on this little throne-ish type of chair inside the hideout. And I think this dude is basically like preaching some sort of self-proclaimed divine truth upon the group and the world regarding the hunting of these aliens for their power, considering that the translations for Jigen just kind of connect and make sense if we're talking about someone who has a doctrine and is trying to influence others around him. So basically, with the meanings behind Jigen, Merciful Eye, Compassionate Eye of Buddha, it seems like this dude is trying to tell people like a divine truth about the aliens and this, and this. And it kind of seems like it lines up to all the other stuff that might have been symbolized within the organization, like the symbols that we talked about. Squares, cubes, they mean perfection. They mean carrying out a plan, constructing on that plan, and then bringing ideas into reality. So it kind of all lines up, considering that this dude might have some sort of power to where when you put it together, how this dude is the one with the same mark as Boruto, they possibly view him as some sort of divine individual, considering that he has the same power that Boruto was bestowed upon by an Otsutsuki alien. So maybe they're viewing this dude as like the supreme dude. He knows everything, he knows the truth, and he's basically the perfection, or something along the lines of that. So it just kind of lines up with everything like that. So as I kind of talked about earlier, their goals probably align with hunting the aliens and basically talking about the truth of something. I don't know, they most likely are dimension travelers too, and I think that Jiren might not be human as well. He might be human, but I'm not really sure, considering that his eyes are like huge. If that's not a mask on his face, his eyes are huge, and he just seems like very non-human. And when they shifted to the last panel in the chapter, it kind of had like a transitional swoosh effect across like these mountains. So I don't know if this is in the same dimension or it's a different dimension, because it seems like they might be hunting these alien dudes like Otsutsukis and all these others, probably other aliens they're probably going to expand upon in the Boruto story, that there's more aliens than the Otsutsuki, but they seem to be like a interdimensional or just like dimension hopping group that hunts these dudes and gets their power, and might want to get rid of all these alien groups. So going back to a piece of information I stated in the beginning, Kara translates to shell or husk. So I have a feeling that when Shijoji ran across them in the past, they were called that, but I don't think they're called Kara now. So I have a feeling that their ambitions are in kind of the foundational building stage up until now, and that they're planning a large scale escapade which will fully start bringing their ideas to reality, kind of how the squares symbolize basically like bringing ideas into reality. Now going back to the group name, which I mentioned in the beginning, translates to shell or husk, I have a feeling that they will most likely be a kind of different group than what Shijoji recalled from the past, because now they've probably been building on their plan up until now, and at the meeting they said let's begin, or y'all ready to begin, or something along those lines, which means they're about to get down to business. So I feel like they will rename themselves to align with the current stage of their plan once they launch their project, similar to how Sasuke's team Hebi evolved into Taka after they gained a new perspective. So I feel like that in the next chapter they will begin talking about their plan and what they're about to basically do, and they will announce that they are a different name than they actually are. We are no longer Kara, Shell or Husk, we are this, which will be like the actual name, and then they'll start actually attacking into the ninja world, or they'll actually just start going around and start going on the offensive. So that is my detailed analysis on the Kara organization within Boruto chapter 15. Can't wait to see chapter 16 to see if some of the stuff I analyzed actually turns out to be true. Boruto is really picking up, and I'm really enjoying the manga now that it's picked up. The last couple chapters were kind of dull, but now we're getting into the good stuff, the new territory, which I cannot wait to see. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any thoughts, comments, well, thoughts and comments are the same thing. If you got anything to say, leave it down in the comment section below. Do you agree with some of the stuff that I might have theorized? And subscribe if you're not. Hit that notification bell, definitely. And like the video if you enjoyed. Anime Analyst, I'm out of here. Peace.